Hey there! So the last 2 months have been crazy busy for me as I put together this masterclass, how to get your next 1,000 fans. And I learned so much and I was kind of keeping it all inside. I wanted to ruminate on it for a little bit. So that's what I've been doing the last week or so. And I have actually a lot of ideas for this, but I thought the first step was to create a little video, share it with you guys, and hopefully you can learn from my lessons because there was a lot to take away from this launch. It was actually my first launch. You know, like I've done panels, I've done speaking engagements, and this was totally different. I don't even know how to describe it, but it was a totally different experience and it was a huge learning experience. And so I wanted to share my 5 takeaways for putting together a launch. And this applies to anything. This can be if you are an artist that is putting out an album, it can be an artist and you're planning to tour, it can be if you're an entrepreneur and you're, looking for your first client or you're getting ready to put out your first freebie, like whatever it is, this is for you, this is gonna help you, and I just hope that you can learn from this. So the first lesson, and probably the biggest lesson I learned with all of this, is that everything will take like a million times longer than you expect it to. So for instance, I gave myself 2 months to put together this masterclass. And in the beginning, that seemed like enough time. I even thought like, oh, maybe I can get this done early. Like this doesn't seem, and then by the end of it, I was scrambling. Like the last, I would say 3 weeks, but especially the last week and a half, 2 weeks, I was stressed. Like I was crazy stressed. A lot of it ended up being last minute tech stuff. It's always the tech stuff where I was just last minute trying to figure things out. And a part of this is because you're learning as you go. So if you are going through this, whether you're going through it now or you're doing this in a month, keep in mind, this is the first time you're doing it, or it's the second time or the third time. It takes some time before things feel like they're running smoothly. So don't get discouraged. You're always gonna hit bumps, especially with your first launch, your first couple launches. That's really normal. So what I would say here is just give yourself plenty of time. Like if you think you need a month, give yourself 2 months. Because trust me, you're never gonna regret having too much time, but you will regret scrambling or not putting out your best product because you tried to squeeze it into a short time. So please, if you take one thing away, take that away. Tip number 2, ads really do work. I know you might be sitting there being like, I don't want to run ads. I'm not that kind of person. I find ads annoying. They work. And there's a whole lot I can go into in here, including mindset shifts, right? Like if you're putting something into the world, then presumably you believe in its power. And in that case, there is nothing wrong with getting people excited about it, right? Like you want people to know about it. If your music or product or whatever it is going to make people's lives better, if it can even just like make them a little bit happier, then don't they deserve to know about it? The answer is yes. And so you want to put that out there. And I ran ads. I think I spent $18 on running Facebook and Instagram ads over the course of about 5 days, and it had a huge impact on my signups. So definitely look into that. And my other piece of advice here is don't go crazy complicated. Like Facebook Ads Manager, I'm gonna be honest, it's a nightmare. I don't wanna deal with it. So what I did for my first run was I actually just ran it straight through Instagram. I put out a post, I boosted that post. It was super easy. And this is what I recommend, especially if you're just getting started. You don't wanna go down that rabbit hole of trying to understand Facebook Ads Manager. It's gonna drain all your energy. It's not worth it. Just do it straight through Instagram this first time around. Yeah, you're gonna save yourself a big headache. Third tip, checklists are your friend. So I love checklists, I love organization, and I cannot recommend this enough. I used Asana, I used the free version, and it was incredible. It allowed me to, sort of time chunk everything, so I could go, here's what I have to do a month before, here's what I have to do 3 weeks before, and I could put everything in there. And just make sure, like, put it on your phone too, so as you think of things, you can put them in, and you will think of things, things like make sure the emails are ready to go, make sure the social posts, things that seem simple, but trust me, you're gonna want these, especially as things get down to the wire. It's gonna be helpful to look at that checklist and go, okay, did I get everything done? Trust me, it never works to keep everything in your head, so have a checklist. Number 4, expect tech issues. You guys, my launch had so many tech issues, and if you were one of the people that stuck around through the tech issues, I can't say thank you enough. I owe you so much because it was so stressful on my end, and seeing the support was incredible. So know that you will have tech issues, but also obviously try to avoid those tech issues. Now, I did my masterclass through Facebook, and Of course, if you're doing something a little bit more solid, like a tour or an album, your tech issues might be different, but you will have them. That might be that a track gets messed up and it takes the producer a little bit longer, or it takes it longer to mix, or something's wrong with your guitar the day you're in the studio. Or if you're an entrepreneur, then maybe it is the webinar and you're having issues on Facebook Live, whatever it is. Just expect that it's part of the process and have a plan, right? So maybe that plan is, okay, if this happens with the vocals, then here's the day we can re-record. Or if the band breaks down, here's what we do. Or maybe your plan is just, I'm expecting this and I know it's gonna happen and I'm gonna breathe through it. But just trust that it's part of the process and we all go through it. I mean, I have friends that have been doing this for ages and years and they still have tech issues. So you are not alone. Don't panic. It will get better, but most importantly, it's all about how you handle it. Number 5, this one is not a cop-out as much as it seems like it, but what I'm gonna say for my 5th tip is breathe. This, I know, this sounds a little like, just calm down, and trust me, I am a stress ball all the time. Being able to take a breath and literally just be like, it's gonna be okay, is so important. And hopefully you have someone you can lean on, whether it's your partner or your family or your friends, that you can vent to when these things happen, whether it's good or bad. But trust me when I say that there are going to be a lot of ups and downs in this launch, no matter what it is. No matter if it's your 1st or your 7th or your 100th, it ebbs and flows, right? It's just gonna happen. And you just have to, at some point, step back and just be like, it's okay. I did my best. I'm doing all I can. It's fine. It's gonna make it so much easier, because trust me, sitting there and worrying about it without a plan, that's the key, right? If you have a plan, that's one thing, but just stressing when there's nothing you can do, it's silly. It doesn't do anything. So take a breath. It's all going to be fine. So those are my 5 tips for launching. I hope they help you. I know that I will be taking this advice as much for myself the next time I launch, which is probably gonna be within the next couple months. So I feel like I will be referring back to this video too, but I hope that helped you, and I would love to hear from you. I'd love to hear what you are getting ready to launch next. So tell me in the comments, what are you getting ready to launch? And I will see you soon.